They say snow in East LA is an omen. The streets don't forget, and neither do the brothers who run them. Pause. December 15th. The day the weather changed. The day everything changed. Los Martinez was 14 years old when he learned that family isn't just about blood. It's about survival. His brother Jay, barely 12, was about to learn the same lesson, but in a way that would mark them both forever. Let me take you back. The snow started falling on a Tuesday morning. First time in 37 years that white powder touched the concrete of Roosevelt Middle School. Kids were running outside during first period, catching flakes on their tongues, taking pictures, acting like it was a miracle. But Los stood under the east entrance overhay, black balaclava pulled down around his neck, yellow camo hoodie catching snowflakes that melted on contact. His Dodgers cap sat tilted just right, and that gold chain his father gave him before he got locked up caught the gray morning light. He wasn't watching the snow. He was watching his little brother. Jay was different from Los. Where Los moved with purpose, calculated, Jay still had that innocence, that sixth-grade energy. He wore his white balaclava loose around his collar, his orange jacket too big for his frame, hand-me-down from a cousin in Boyle Heights. The gold earrings he wore were Los's gift to him. Payment from a job Los had done the month before. Jay didn't ask where the money came from. He knew better than to ask questions. But on this particular Tuesday, Jay was smiling. Actually smiling. Running in the snow, with kids from his homeroom, slipping on the icy basketball court, laughing. Los watched him with the kind of intensity that made people uncomfortable. Because Los knew something Jay didn't know yet. Pause. Miguel Memo Castillo had been released from juvenile detention 3 days prior. Memo was 16, built like someone who'd spent time working out in a cell, and he had a memory like a steel trap. He remembered everything, especially remembered the reason he got sent up in the first place. And he remembered that Los Martinez had something to do with it. See, 6 months ago, Los had witnessed something he shouldn't have. Memo moving product through the school, using 7th graders as runners, collecting from kids whose parents couldn't afford to say no. Los didn't snitch. That wasn't his way. But he did something worse. He interfered. When Memo tried to pressure one of Jay's friends, a quiet kid named David, who wore the same hoodie 3 days a week because his family was struggling, Los stepped in, told Memo to move his operations somewhere else, told him Roosevelt Middle was off limits. The disrespect burned Memo worse than any police report could have. So Memo got sloppy, started moving careless, got caught by school security with enough to catch a case. And from his cell in juvenile hall, watching his empire crumble, Memo blamed one person. Los Martinez. Pause. The snow was falling harder by third period. The principal, Mrs. Hernandez, made an announcement that school would be releasing early due to weather conditions. Kids erupted in cheers. Teachers looked relieved. But Los felt his stomach drop. Early dismissal meant chaos, meant less supervision, meant the perfect opportunity for someone looking to settle a score. He found Jay at his locker, stuffing books into his backpack. "Hermano," Los said quietly, "stay close to me today. We leaving together?" Jay looked up, those young eyes still holding trust that Los was terrified he couldn't live up to. "It's just snow, bro. Chill." "Nah." Los's voice dropped lower. "Memo's out." The name alone changed Jay's expression. Even at 12, he knew what that meant. He'd heard the stories, seen the way older kids moved different when Memo's name came up. "He coming for you?" Jay's voice cracked slightly. "Maybe." Maybe not, but we ain't taking chances. What Loss didn't tell his little brother was that Memo had already sent a message. A text from an unknown number. Just 3 words. Tuesday. After school. Pause. The snow turned the whole campus into something unfamiliar. The chain-link fences looked different, covered in white. The graffiti on the gym wall, usually vibrant with territorial tags and memorial pieces, looked matured under the frost. It was like the whole hood was wearing a disguise. Loss kept Jay within arm's reach as they navigated through the crowded hallways. Everyone was hyped about the early dismissal, making plans to go to the hills in El Sereno, to sled on trash can lids and cookie sheets. Normal kid stuff. Loss couldn't remember the last time he'd done normal kid stuff. They were almost to the exit when Loss saw him. Memo stood by the front gates, snow gathering on his shoulders, breath coming out in clouds. He wasn't alone. 2 older guys flanked him, probably 18, 19. Not students. Shouldn't have even been on campus. But with the snow, with the chaos, with teachers rushing to get home themselves. Who was checking? Loss felt Jay tense beside him, put a hand on his brother's shoulder. Back entrance, Loss whispered. They turned, moving against the flow of students, heading toward the rear of the school near the cafeteria. Loss's mind was racing. The back gate would be locked during school hours, but there was a gap in the fence behind the dumpsters. He'd used it before. They pushed through the back doors into the service area. The smell of cafeteria trash mixed with cold air. Snow was piling up against the dumpsters, making everything look cleaner than it had any right to be. That's when they heard the voice. "Yo, Los!" Loss turned. Memo had anticipated this move. He was smarter than Loss gave him credit for. Memo emerged from behind the dumpsters, alone this time, but Los knew his boys weren't far. "Been looking for you, Easy," Memo said, walking slowly forward. His hands were in his pockets. That could mean anything. Los pushed Jay behind him. "This ain't about him. Let my brother walk." Memo smiled, but it was cold as the weather. "See? That's your problem, Los. Always protecting people. Always in business that ain't yours." "Memo, man, I didn't snitch. You know I didn't. But you disrespected me. In front of everybody. Made me look weak. And when people think you weak in our world..." Memo pulled his hands from his pockets. Empty, but balled into fists. "They take everything from you." Pause. What happened next lasted maybe 45 seconds, but Los would remember every detail for the rest of his life. Memo rushed forward, and Los met him halfway. Not because he wanted to fight, but because he needed to keep distance between Memo and Jay. They collided hard against the brick wall of the cafeteria. Los was younger, smaller, but he fought like someone with everything to lose. They traded blows. Los tasted blood, felt his ribs scream when Memo connected with a hook to his side. But he didn't go down. Behind them, Jay was yelling. Los could hear his little brother's voice breaking, screaming for help, and it filled Los with something beyond adrenaline. It filled him with purpose. Los managed to get Memo in a headlock, not to hurt him, but to control him. He leaned in close, breathing hard, speaking directly into Memo's ear. "You want to blame somebody? Blame the system that put you in that cell. Blame the streets that made you think this was your only option. But don't blame me for trying to protect kids who deserve better than what we got." Pause. Memo stopped struggling. For just a moment, in the falling snow, with a 12-year-old watching, 2 teenagers recognized something in each other. The weight they carried. The roles they'd been forced into. The fact that they were still just kids, playing a game with rules written by people who didn't care if they survived it. Los let him go. Memo stepped back, breathing hard, blood on his lip. He looked at Los, then at Jay, then back at Los. You got heart, Martinez. Stupid, but you got heart. Memo turned and walked away, disappearing into the snow. Pause. Los and Jay stood there in the cold, both shaking. Not just from the temperature. Jay finally spoke. You could have got hurt. For real hurt. Los looked down at his little brother, at those gold earrings catching the pale winter light, at the orange jacket dusted with snow, at the face that still held hope that the world could be better than this. That's what brothers do, Los said quietly. We take the hits, so you don't have to. They walked home together through the snow, through streets that were familiar but looked brand new under white powder. Los knew this wasn't over. Memo might walk away today, but the streets had long memories. There would be other tests, other threats, other moments where he'd have to choose between his own survival and protecting the people he loved. But as they walked, Jay reached over and took his hand, something they hadn't done since they were little kids, and Los realized something that would define everything that came after. In a world that wanted them to become monsters, the most revolutionary thing they could do was remain human, remain brothers. The snow continued to fall on East L.A. An omen, they said, but of what? An ending, or a beginning. Pause. Only time would tell.